digital transformation leader. We are here talking about digital, we're talking about leadership. I give you 5. First, a digital company has to be a very responsive culture. It cannot be, leave my paper at the table, send me an email, I'll get back in 48 hours. No. Okay. We measure responsiveness in our company of all the 30 teams in the company. We measure that every 2 months. Okay. We have to be responsive as an organization in a digital world. People don't have time for laggards. Either a brand or a manager or a company, number 1. Number 2, strategy has to be part of the ecosystem strategy. When you're working digital, you're not alone. You cannot drive growth independently. Today is the era of dependent growth. You need the Facebook, you need the Google, you need the LinkedIn, you need the big basket, you need the big bazaar, you need the future brand. It has to be an ecosystem. Ecosystems compete with each other today in a digital world, and some overlap. It is not independent growth anymore in a digital world. Point number 3, recruit digital talent. You have to get people who understand this world. It cannot be the old physical world. 4th, break silos. You have to be seamless in the organization, because finally you're serving the consumer in a seamless manner. The consumer trawls the whole world in a seamless manner. So organizations have to break more and more silos. And finally, data-driven decision models. There's just too much data out there. Just too much data. Trying to figure out which data to focus on itself is going to be the biggest challenge for leaders. I just heard about a guy in Delhi right now. He's finished 3 years. He has a company where if you go to a store, you have a bill, you take a picture of the bill, send it to him. He's got huge data bank of you as a consumer, what you've been shopping every week, which brand, how often do you buy, which pack, etc. Many people in the data business are trying to tie up with him. It's far more reliable than most of the tracking data that we see today. What a big business. He's finished 3 years, you send that data to him, he rewards you. At the end of 3 years, he's getting lots of congratulatory messages saying, well done, you really made shopping fun for me. Okay? So I believe the era of each of these type of business models. A day will come when, as Santosh was pointing out, on your phone, if you disclose your location, it will happen in a few years, I think, or maybe less. The operator will give you data plus voice free, as long as you disclose location. Because location will be used to transmit 1,000 messages to you. So that's the next business model which is waiting to happen in India, disclose location. Okay? Finally, digital convergence. Everything about the organization has to be culture, people, structure, tasks, strategy. Everything must be digital. If you don't think digital to start with, there is no future. There's absolutely no future. The physical world is behind us. I showed you the innovation adoption curve. Okay, that curve will only move to the right. There's no more time for data searching. It's time for action, ladies and gentlemen. So in summary, at the end of 14 minutes, the FMCG models of the past were good. Brands built on emotion. Brands still have emotion. Brands built on distribution. Distribution will be disrupted with digital models, no doubt about it. Accounts receivable better than account payable won't happen in a future world. Things will change. Okay? And digital will disrupt every single aspect of your value chain. There's not a single aspect of your value chain which will not be disrupted. Let me give you an example and then close. Every company has forecast accuracy. You ask your salespeople to do forecast accuracy, yes or no? Every company does that? Okay, we have a machine which uses artificial intelligence of all SKUs which are 2 years old and predicts that. 2 months ago, we recognized that the forecast accuracy from our salespeople, our best people, our unit managers and unit planners, was 67% for the top 15 SKUs in the company. We looked at the machine was predicting 72. For the last 2 months, we've stopped forecast accuracy with human beings in PepsiCo India. It's completely machine run. It's only for new innovation and new products that the marketing team predicts something. Today, the forecast accuracy from the machine this month is 75%. 75. Nobody would ever think that it's possible. Today, our distributor claims are settled in 3 hours, PepsiCo. The best company out there in FMCG is 8 days. We are settling in 3 hours. So distributor puts a claim for 15 lakhs, in 3 hours he gets the money. So every aspect of the value chain is being disrupted. Why? To serve the customer and the consumer better. So that's the huge shift. FMCG has always said, I am the brand owner, thou shalt listen to me. We all said the consumer has a voice. We all said the consumer is king or queen. Now that king and queen has a voice. That we didn't factor in the past. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All the very best.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shiv, for that presentation on how FMCG market is being disrupted by digital transformation across the entire chain. So we saw Sundar presenting some interesting examples of how brands are using digital to connect with consumers. Santosh took it to another level by talking about the digital consumer. And Shiv was given the last engaging talk on how FMCG markets across the entire supply chain are being disrupted. So ideally, I would have had many questions to ask, but we are way behind schedule. So I've been requested by group captain. You can't disobey the group captain, right? He'll, probably bomb you. So he used to fly fighter jets. Did you see Dunkirk? You saw, right? So he's asked me, given me time for 2 questions. So let me ask the. So the first one is about to Shiv. I think about healthy drinks. So doctors don't discourage soft drinks. So what is your solution? How are you engaging with diabetic consumers? So interestingly, Pepsi compared to Coke has a much wider range of health drinks. So, but let me answer that. Let me hand over to him to answer the question.
So we have a huge program on portfolio transformation, as Ambi just said. We have a huge range of alternate beverages. If you look at the big segments which consumers see as healthy, anything to do with milk is healthy, anything to do with juice is healthy, anything to do with water and value-added water is healthy. Okay, those are the big categories of the future, okay, in India. And our whole program is to transform our portfolio to align it to where the consumer is going.
And I think there is a oats milk, right? Quaker oats milk has come out, and I think it's a fabulous product.
That's dairy, which is oats plus dairy, yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So that's one question which I think is answered to the satisfaction of the gentleman who asked that question. This one is to Sundar and Santosh. It's a very weird question, so let me ask it anyway, and then you can answer it. Bata, obviously, how many people in this room are currently wearing Bata footwear? Bata. Huh? I might be. You might be wearing. Okay, good. So, okay, before I ask that question, let me ask one question here. We are, there is this concept of people who are digitally illiterate, people who actually ask their secretary to print out emails and they reply to emails. Then there are people who are digitally literate who can just about handle emails and maybe WhatsApp, etc. And there are people who are digital natives who don't use any paper at all, right? How many digital natives here who don't use any paper in their work? Vijay? Yeah, Vijay doesn't use any paper because he does no work. The team does the work, right? If you don't do any work, you don't need to use any paper because the team does all the work, right? So okay, there are no digital natives here. The other question I want to ask is, how many of you here during this conference tweeted or posted something on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest? Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Yeah, okay. Just about 6 or 7 people, right? This is very, very low, extremely low. Okay, either you're not truthful, like what my good friend Sundar is saying, or 6 of them are 6 or 7 are truthful. Okay, so there is a nice little anecdote I'll tell you, and then I'll ask this question. Apparently, this Marathi play was being staged in Pune, and they made this interesting announcement on the, saying that those of you who want to put off the phone, please keep the phone off. Those of you who want to answer a call during the phone, please answer it on speakerphone mode, because you never know, your conversation may be more interesting than the play, and we'll also on stage will listen to your conversation. So maybe we should have made that announcement that, please keep tweeting, please keep putting stuff on Facebook, because that is the new generation. They're doing 3 things at the same time. They're listening to a great speech at the same time, messaging their friends saying, yeah, what Santosh is saying this, I don't know whether it's right. Or, Sundar just presented an interesting case. Have you seen it? So I'm sorry to give the bad news, but all of you here, or except for those 6 honest people who put up their hands, the rest of you here are not digital natives. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that you're not digital natives. So maybe tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll become digital natives. But let me ask this question. This is the last question, which has given me dirty looks. So Bata is a great brand known to all, acceptable to all, used by all. Can you see any other brand equivalent to Bata in this contemporary world? This is a question to both of you. Yeah.
Several, I guess. Meaning, from you look at so many. I mean, the idea of a popular brand that is liked by all, or is very very common. From the Tata, you'll find Tata Salt, or you'll find a whole lot of Tata products. You will find in its own category now. You'll find something like Titan. I mean, there are any Maruti in its category, or these are brands that in a way connect across a very wide range of Colgate in another. I mean, so I think in fact Bata-like brands which cut across. I think that you will even now find a fair number of examples of. Amul is a great example.
I think Bata is a brand which actually went into pretty disrepute and is being reinvented today. And it lost out a lot of share, and I think it's coming back, I think, in some form. Yeah, Sundar, you want to say?
I think there are lots of retail brands. We're just staying on the retail space of Bata. I think I immediately can recollect Raymond is a great brand in the retail space. You can have, I wouldn't say even Woodlands today is a good brand, the same Bata space. Yeah. There are, if you think deeply, you will come across many brands who actually, I'm not talking about the multinational consumer, fast moving consumer goods type of brands, but there are enough brands there. I would even say with State Bank of India, for that matter.
SBI is a great
very
brand.
important brand. So,
yeah.
I don't think there is any shortfall numbers there.
Yeah, so I think, maybe I would have rephrased that question and said, look, why did Bata lose its halo and what is it trying to get it back?
I'm not even sure it has lost anything actually. Even today, if you go to Bata showroom, you will have at least half a dozen customers there. And all within the 1,000 square foot space that they have, which is not a bad thing for them. What is losing? I'm saying, if you want, the first port of call for a shoe, most people
is Bata.
Is Bata.
Okay.
Maybe it's not the first port of call for ladies. Okay, certainly for school wear, school shoes, and most formal shoes. I think Bata is the first port of call.
So good. So I think I'm getting strong signals to wind up. Before I wind up, let me just say one small thing, and it's interesting that 3 of you are here with me, because just about a year ago, when I launched my book, in Bombay it was Santosh, in Delhi it was Shiv, and in Chennai it was Sundar. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you to the chairman and the distinguished speakers. May I now invite Mr. Suresh Raman, a member Managing Committee, Madras Management Association and Head TCS, and also Mr. K. Suresh, President CEO of India Cements Capital, to kindly step forward and present mementos to the chairman and the speakers. Can we give a big round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, this was this session. On relearning marketing, creating brands digitally. Thank you to the dignitaries on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly be seated. As announced earlier, MMA is very active in social media. MMA Chennai is the Facebook page. We request you to kindly log into the page and like the postings and stay connected. This conclave is also being webcast live, liveibc.com/MMA live. That's the link. Please pass it on to your friends and relatives and also to the members who are unable to make it to the conclave. Right. We are now moving to the next plenary session 2 on the topic, Who's Afraid of Tech? Skilling for Automation. And the dignitaries for the session, the chairman of the session, Mr. Srivatsa Ram, Managing Director, Wheels India Limited, and past President, Madras Management Association. And the distinguished speakers, Mr. Richard Rekhi, former Chief Executive Officer, KPMG in India, and also Dr. Balawi Balachandran, Dean and Chairman, Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai. I invite the chairman of the session, Mr. Srivatsa Ram, Managing Director, Wheels India Limited, Dr. Balawi Balachandran, Dean and Chairman, Great Lakes Institute of Management, and Mr. Richard Rekhi, former Chief Executive Officer, KPMG. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the dignitaries with a round of applause. This is the second session on Who's Afraid of Tech? Skilling for Automation. Mr. Srivatsa Ram is a Managing Director, Wheels India Limited. He has over 20 years of experience in automotive industry, and he was the President of Madras Management Association for the year 2013-14. We have with us Mr. Richard Rekhi, who is a former Chief Executive Officer of KPMG. Mr. Richard is presently a board member of KPMG Dubai, and he has been elected as the Vice Chair of the National Executive Board of American Chamber of Commerce in India. Mr. Richard is also the current Chairman of Enactus India and a board member of Enactus Worldwide, a non-profit organization focused on driving youth leadership. Mr. Richard is affiliated with leading business enterprises, domestic and worldwide, and is also an active member of diverse industry associations and trade bodies. We also have with us Dr. Balawi Balachandran, a teacher by qualification but an academic entrepreneur by choice. He is one of the best known names in the Indian and American management education landscape, setting up Great Lakes Institute of Management in 2004 in his hometown, Chennai, was the logical next step for the professor turned edupreneur. Great Lakes has now a presence in New Delhi as well, and Government of India conferred on him the Padma Shri in 2001 in recognition of his contribution towards higher education in India. I now hand over the session to Mr. Srivatsa Ram.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are running a little behind. We will try to make up on the time. I'm privileged to chair this session, which is titled Who's Afraid of Technology? Skilling for Automation. So as you know, this has a significant impact in India, where job creation is the need of the hour. And at the same time, much as job creation is the need of the hour, what you read in the newspaper is all about self-driving cars, automation, machine learning, and the fact that all the jobs are being sucked up much faster than they're being created. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. In this session, we're very privileged to have Professor Balawi Balachandran, who's the Kellogg Distinguished Professor from Northwestern University, and also the founder and dean of our own Chennai's own Great Lakes Institute of Management. We also have Mr. Richard Rekhi, who was a former Chief Executive Officer of KPMG in India. Just to set the context, I thought I'll tell you a little bit about some of the findings. There was a research done by HR agency called People Strong, who said that out of a quarter of the people who will be losing their jobs by 2021, a quarter of the people globally who lose their jobs will be in India. So, much as the doom and gloom is there, this is what the HR agency is talking about. And how is this actually happening? One is you read about automation. When we think of automation, we think about robots, but it's not just that, it's also how we're able to program and use multiple agencies where the cost has come down. Cost of technology really has come down. So if you look at it in terms of manufacturing, cost of sensors have come down, cost of connectivity has come down, the cost of even robots have come down. If you look at processing and intelligence and decision making, artificial intelligence is on the rise. There are already companies who are using it, as a previous speaker Shiv mentioned. They're using it for forecasting, which is normally seen as an intelligent job for people. So there are jobs which we earlier called as skilled and intelligent, which can now be automated. So this is actually changing very, very rapidly. And I come from a generation where when the computer came, it was a huge productivity gain, or at least was seen as a huge productivity gain. So with this, we're seeing all industries are getting transformed. In India, if you look at it, banking, the IT sector, which you read about the most in the newspapers, manufacturing, service sectors are changing also with all this automation that's happening. So much as human beings constantly strive to improve themselves and find quicker ways to do things, we're also finding that on the other side that we're making a lot of the things that we used to do obsolete, and in the process making a certain percentage of our own people obsolete. It's not just a question of automation reducing the number of people, it's also the skills which are required. So in a traditional manufacturing setup, if you grew up, if you're over the age of 30, let me say, it would be mechanical engineering would be the type of job that you went into. Whereas now we're finding that even in jobs which traditionally were the electronics, programming skills are becoming much more important, and you suddenly find in companies that you have surplus of mechanical engineers, you have a huge shortage of people in electronics. So you're finding the skill mismatch, which is actually a much bigger challenge than the fact that the number of people who will get jobs will come down. There's also this fact that while this transformation is happening, there's a skill mismatch which is happening. What do you do with people you already have? You have guys who basically were your stars 5 years back, and suddenly their skills are obsolete. This is reality. There are guys who we look at their performance appraisal, their managers say they're not skilled, and we look at what they were rated 3 years back, to be honest, not 5 years, and they got superlative ratings, and they were really at the forefront of their skill. So this change that is happening, and is happening very rapidly, also calls for us to look back at people who have actually served organizations and served industry well, and find a way in which we can reskill them. So there's a reskilling challenge, there's a skill challenge, but there's also this automation. Number of unemployed people in India is, as you know, in our country is in the millions. The International Labour Organization came up with a report which says that it's likely to increase by about 10% every 3 years. And so how do you create jobs? How do you reskill? To reflect on this, we have Dr. Balawi Balachandran and Richard Reiki who will reflect on it. I'll start off by inviting Dr. Bala to enlighten us. Thank you, Dr. Bala.
Thank you very much, Srivas. Good morning to all of you. Guys, you all had a fantastic coffee, and therefore you should have energy. And if you do not have energy, nothing is going to work, whether the previous practices or next practices or the best practices. As a matter of fact, the major thing that India is going to shine, it is because of the energy. If you do not have energy or excitement, nothing is going to happen. If you believe you do not have energy, look at this Rajinikanth, a guy who is 67 years old, who can romance with Deepika Padukone and Surya simultaneously, whose combined age is less than his age, and make them tired. So, how does he do it? Actually, if you see him in Chandramukhi as a villain for less than 5 minutes, you love him. How can you love a villain because of his energy. And you may ask, how the heck he is energetic? He's not energetic. You saw today also in newspaper. But when he's in the sets, he's amazingly energetic. And that is exactly he is practicing. He did his own SWOT analysis, where he can shine and beat either Kamal Hassan or Shivaji Ganesan and impress Balachandran. Right? Energy. And therefore, folks, if you think you are not energetic, think like this. How does he become energetic? He acts energetic. So if you start acting energetic from now on, you will be a superstar. So therefore, and of course you will have 2, 3 combined ages less than yours with you. All right? So therefore, before anything, let us talk about good morning. Good morning, friends. Good morning. Wow. I do not want to stand in before you before the lunch. I know the sessions are at least 45 minutes late. I'm going to make it short. I want to talk about 2, 3 cases and come back to what is called as best practices versus best practices. Many of you are worried about, are we to be afraid of this technology? Let me give you a simple example. Have you ever believed government of India doing really smart something? Absolutely yes. For example, Suresh Prabhu, who is the Minister of Railways, who actually, believe it or not, folks, my age is over 80 years. When I was in uniform, many of you were in liquid form. All right? And now, notice that, it is again because of energy. This guy, how many cabinet ministers send me a letter, Bala, I am so sorry, I cannot come and join your celebration of your 80th birthday in your campus, but however, here are my wishes. But I have already told him a little bit and about the kind of next practices. Would you believe every one of us travel either by plane or train? And now they connected with Air India and the railways. You are going to buy a ticket. So now he is going to make Uber, which is a disruptor in the business world, obsolete. How? He is going to give you a car and a driver, like a chauffeur, clean car, smelling good, coming into your platform, receiving you, taking you to your home, or picking you from your home, end to end. And guess what? The price will be much less than any taxi, any auto, or Uber or Ola. Who invented that? Government of India. All right? This has not been invented even by American Airlines, United Airlines in United States. They will be copying us. Now let us take this thing. I have a fantastic car, a latest model Lexus SUV in Chicago. Amazing car, just bought 1 year back. The GPS system itself like a big TV. When you sit there, you do not know whether it is on or not. That beautiful. That also has some problems. Now Tesla, I also have that. One Tesla is about $180,000. 2 days back, 3 days back, Elon Musk has announced he is going to give the Tesla for $35,000, which is going to completely compete with even Mercedes or any other person, and that is a much better car. Let me tell you why it's much better. Because I want to talk about next practices and why best practices are not good enough. I had this Tesla car. It's a bigger car. And I went in Chicago sometime in the month of June. Unbelievably hot. And Tesla car, as you know, is a sort of a battery car. Electricity is essentially from battery. He has a whole factory for batteries. Factory for battery. Note that. And now this car, as usual, sometime like Lexus, went gonked, stopped. No air conditioning. I was sweating. And then I called. When I call the emergency number, which is given there with my vehicle identification number, as usual, a lady answers that. Sir, what's your problem? Ma'am, my car's stuck. I have a quintuple bypass surgery just now done. About 10 years back, I paid for one, got 4 free. It's a great model, disruptive model. But at the same time, I am sweating. Only 35% of my heart is working. Yes, I have a pacemaker, defibrillator, so it is already pumping. Now the question is, please generally Lexus brings a newer car in less than half an hour. Take your car, and that newer car is a better model than your model. So they are also doing marketing. Shiv has to learn something from him. All right, anyway, the question is, I thought I am going to get a loaner car very soon. Sir, could you please describe what exactly happened when it stopped and it didn't work? Just about half a minute, 1 minute. So I described that. And then, sir, could you hold on for a minute? I know she's answering somebody else. And then on top of it, he said, have a nice day. Ma'am, I'm not having a nice day. Don't tell me that. And some stupid music comes. 1 minute has passed. In that 1 minute after that, sir, are you still holding? Yes, ma'am, I'm listening to your unusual, horrible music. Could you press the button again? I press the button. The car starts. In 1 minute, 4 techies remotely taken charge of my car. And this lady, I was condescending, thinking that she's a secretary. She's a computer-aided design, computer-aided engineering expert, with the 3 others, of which 2 are Indians, because I could hear their voice, and they are talking in Hindi, and 1 in Tamil. All right, I couldn't believe. All right, 4 people who are listening to my thing are looking step by step, system by system, and found out where is the problem and fixed the problem remotely, and you did not take your car to any garage, no monkey spanner, no monkey who is answering that thing and trying to fix your problem. This is the best practices which is going to be obsolete. And now, who are the people designing this? Who are the people? Some people from TCS in the United States. 10%, some people, not only TCS, Infosys, Wipro, everybody. I need to satisfy everybody. All right, so, but this guy is a TCS, I know that, because when he says his name, I met you at that place in Sirusari. Sir, did you go there? Yes, yes, don't worry. Anyway, question is, are they afraid of the new technology? They are creating the new technology. The world is Internet of Things, expert system, VUCA world, not only VUCA world, now it is a PUCA world, and I will tell you that PUCA also shortly. And then artificial